What's up, Stat Collectors? This is your boy HStats, and I'm here today with Anthony Mestas from Sideshow. So, what's up, Anthony? What's going
up,
on,
man? How's it going?
Chilling. So I'm glad you came out. For the Statue Con. So how you feeling? How's everything? How you enjoying
Good, man.
the show?
I'm digging it. This is, I think it's the third day already. I think that's the third, fourth day. I'm starting to lose track, but I like it, man. It's like seeing all the statues here in one place, meeting the collectors. I think that's the coolest part. People like yourself, and getting to interact with people that are mainly focused here on statues. You
Cool.
go to other conventions and it's like, movies and toys and books and art. This one is just strictly, statues and figurative art. So
Cool.
I'm all about it. Yeah.
All right. So Anthony, can you just give me like some insight? I've been, buying from Sideshow for a couple of years. Sideshow is known for the introduction of statue collecting,
Right.
and still in love with it. And I feel like Sideshow in the last couple of years they have been listening to collectors like myself. A lot of the pieces, let's say for example, like the Star Wars pieces, the Darth Maul that I purchased. I remember when I made a review, I said, well, it would have been cooler if these lightsabers could light up.
Right.
Because some of us, when we receive these statues, we usually customize this with lightsabers that light up. And I've seen recently some upcoming statues like Mace Windu that's going to have a light up saber. And you got an Obi-Wan that's coming with that light up saber.
Right.
So, is Sideshow, listening to the community, did they figure out like this is the way to go?
Yeah, and specifically for lightsabers, it's funny because we used to, on some of the early pieces we were lighting the sabers. I think the first Obi-Wan and Vader that we had done, if I remember right, had light up sabers. But the thing is with that come a bunch of issues, in production. If the sabers burn out, how do you replace them? It ramps the cost up. Are they going to be satisfactory to what we want them to look like, or is it just going to look kind of dim? So there's a lot of touch and go on that. There's a few times where we were like, well, let's pull that out and see what how the customers react. Is it going to be that big of a deal, having that saber? Everybody wants a light up saber. And as times have evolved and technology's evolved and lighting's getting cheaper and slimmer and means of kind of engineering them to have that light up feature, we brought that back to the figures. And I definitely see how the customers are reacting. They're like, man, they're putting light up sabers, and and like I said, part of it is like, wow, some collectors might not have realized we were doing that a long time ago, and then we kind of took a hiatus and then we brought it back. But we definitely listen to the customers. We see that they want those sabers back in there, and so we're starting to integrate them back in.
Cool. Yeah. And now we have a couple of Sideshow pieces in this area. Do you mind just like walking me through some of these? Let's start with this Joker piece over here.
Old ones and
some old school bad boys. So cool concept.
Right.
Love this Joker.
Oh yeah.
And I like the base. I'm not sure what year this came out.
This is an older one. I don't know exactly the year. You got to think when we work on these, we're like a year and a half ahead before the customer even sees it. So a lot of times, I've been working on this and it's been done and somewhat forgotten, and then it comes out. So the time frames are a little hard to pin down. But this has been out for quite some time. But this was one of the first premium format Jokers that we did, and our premium format line has the cut and sew, which some people like, some people don't. It's usually on the fence.
Yeah.
But it's our premium line, and which we had started, and that was what kind of designated the title premium format, because we were given a premium figure that had other multimedia materials, which was fabric. It wasn't just a sculpted piece. But this one was, if I remember right, this was Martin Canal had sculpted this one, and it was a huge fan favorite. He has that evil, menacing look, and it is one of my favorites.
Maniacal grin.
Yep. Exactly.
Classic.
Yep. And the base is awesome. I dig the base.
Oh, cool.
It has the clowns, and we were one of the first ones to kind of do what is now kind of called the storytelling base, and add in these elements. So we were always kind of putting these different elements that went around the base from way back in the day, and it's almost kind of like a norm now among some of the other companies. So
Right, and here's one that I own. sculpted by Daniel Bell, who is here, but he's being bombarded by
he's around
fans.
here. He's around here
So
somewhere.
hopefully I can get him later. So now, when this one came out, you know, as a YouTuber reviewer of my personal statues and trying to get people to relate to my hobby, it was controversial.
Right.
Now, I mean, if you look, why I say this is a fantastic job, because like it seemed like the camera picks up that silver. You can't see it with the naked eye.
Right.
And I noticed, like, you know, depending on how you use lighting on this particular piece, it does shine like a silver surfer.
Right. Yep.
Now, was that done on purpose, or
yeah, most definitely, because we weren't, you know, cost is prohibitive to go and chrome plate these things in production. You have a lot of what we would call, you know, when you chrome, you have sometimes it delaminates, and you have a bunch that you can't sell. So it's real tough and it's expensive. But we also feel like you highlight the sculpt with paint and doing specific highlights and shadows to bring out the anatomy and control it a little bit more. So if you're displaying it in lighting like this, like ambient lighting, you don't have to worry about how it's picking up light. You're kind of putting it there, so no matter whose house it's in, it's gonna you know, look like it's supposed to look like, you know, the intent, which is like what you said. You know, when you look at it in photos, you know,
it doesn't
the highlight is there.
Yeah.
You know, if this was chromed or too shiny or didn't have the shadowing and the lighting was weird on it, you would lose a lot of the definition. You'd get weird hot spots. You would get weird shadows, and you would definitely not get the topography that's going on here in the anatomy. So we definitely wanted to make sure that was kind of baked in with the paint job, and you know, so the customer, wherever they display it, wherever they have it, you know, it looks like the intent. You know, it looks chrome.
So now here's a question that I think everyone wants answered, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, you know, because I understand, you know, it's a business.
I'll do what I do.
So when I first started coming across like Sideshow pieces, it's been through like the New York Comic Cons, and for the past few years, we know that, you know, the COVID impact, Sideshow has not been around. I mean, and you know, the rumors are real estate for the venue is you know, it's expensive, but you know, as a collector, we like to see these things before we purchase them. Now, one of the ones that I bought from New York Comic Con was the Venom bus, one of the first one. And when I saw that thing in that
the last one, the big one with the
tongue, with the tongue coming out. When I saw that, I mean, I can send you the video. I went crazy, and I'm like, I'm definitely picking this up. You know, so like, what's going on with that? Because some of us are not going to fly out to San Diego. I haven't been to the San Diego Comic Con as of yet, but I've heard that Sideshow has not been showing up, and you know, it's kind of like a letdown for the fans.
I know, and it's something that we had to think long and hard about, and you brought up COVID, and that was a deciding factor, because, you know, once COVID hit, it kind of created, you know, everything was shut down, which gave us an opportunity. We had to kind of rethink our business plan, and how do we engage with customers, and you know, still showcase our pieces, since nobody could go out and see these things. And the industry shifted in general. When COVID came, you know, now it became everybody was talking via Skype and Zoom, and, you know, like just like we're doing right now. Everybody started having a podcast, and we found that we could really narrow down and engage with our customers via our multimedia department. So we would give a better experience and more dialed in with showcasing these pieces, you know, that we were filming at Sideshow and presenting them in a very curated type environment, which it works for us, but we also see, you know, as a fan myself, you know, just like being here, you know, I was talking to Jesse, my coworker, and I was like, man, this is really cool, because we even get to see the pieces in person. And we know how much that kind of holds weight, because it's one thing to see a photo or a video or somebody talking about it. It's another thing to get your own eyes on it, and because there's a lot of horrible photography out there, and there's a lot of weird situations that don't paint a piece in the proper light, and then word catches on, and it kind of spreads like wildfire, and that's the last thing we want. We'd rather have people see it, and that almost becomes the mantra for people when they go, I'll wait till I see it in person, you know, and that's the last thing we want. You know, I get it, you know, you're spending a lot of money, you want to see it, but we also want it to be seen in the best possible manner. So, you know, short of seeing it with your own two eyes, you know, Sideshow Con, which is kind of what San Diego Con kind of evolved into. So we've created our own event during San Diego that's called Sideshow Con, which is started now. I think it's went up. That's the next best place to see that stuff in the best proper way. But I mean, hopefully events like Statue Con and will stay there, and people can kind of gravitate and
Right.
and see them in person.
So I kind of like ask you like a trick question, because the reason why I asked you that question
You're gonna
is
try to trick me?
yeah, because it's like, we my concerns is like, what's Sideshow concerned with competition? Because say for example, when you bring up like a company, let's say for example Prime One Studios or XM, most collectors, we know when we put in our hard-earned dollars into those type of statues, we're going to get that wow factor that's guaranteed, or we're sending it back. And so like, what's Sideshow concerned? Because there's a couple of statues here that have seen in person that I probably wouldn't have picked up just by looking at it from the picture. So what's your concern in regards to that? And of course, Sideshow always has the best prices, compared to competitors. But like, what's your concern? Like, how do you keep?
I think some of that, it's really subjective to the customer, what they're into, and how they're comparing pieces, and we don't really see Prime One. I mean, we partner up with Prime One. They've set their corner in the marketplace. Their pieces are more expensive, they're larger, they're more extravagant.
Right.
So you know what you're shooting for if you're collecting Prime One.
Right.
XM, the same thing. They have their deal, even though we don't distribute, we don't necessarily see them as competitors, because they're not selling in our marketplace. They're coming out of Asia, even though their pieces will trickle in. That's a whole separate thing, and that's you need other companies to be able to have a healthy market. If there was only one company and a monopoly on it, that doesn't make anybody happy. So
you don't. Well, you are a distributor of Prime One, so you don't see them as a competitor. What about XM Studios?
Not so much.
Not so much?
Me personally,
you don't distribute for XM.
But that's a licensing thing where they have their area that they work with, and you definitely see it in the collector community. I mean, it's like with anything, you have people that just out of context, like, oh, I only collect Porsches from Germany, or I only collect Ferraris from Italy. I mean, everybody is very picky, and they're very devout to what they collect, and sometimes are a little bit biased. And then you get other people that are like, I know people that don't think highly about other companies just because that's not what they're into.
Right.
And then everybody has their own decision on what they're trying to make, and it's not really, we're not overly concerned with that, because at the end of the day, we're creating something that we have thought about and designed, and everybody at work are huge fans and are confident in our fan base, knowing what to expect, and the quality and the price and everything else. So, there's a little bit to go around, for everybody.
Cool. Okay, so lastly, I'm gonna basically bother you about another one that was controversial and why I didn't pick it up. So now, when it comes to like, as a collector, I like to collect, characters that are closely related to the comic book. I am an avid comic reader.
Right.
So now this one, now when this came out, I'm like, he didn't even have the,
What, the web?
No, not even the web. He didn't have the suit on when he was fighting Venom for the first time.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So that was kind of inaccurate.
Right.
So let's say, for example, if you guys was in the pre-production and this concept was coming up, and let's say a heckler came and say, hey, look, Spidey didn't have that when he forged Venom. Like, how do you guys, do you just stop the project, or do you say no, it doesn't matter?
No,
or?
I mean, because when we go in, we're looking to make something that's impactful, dynamic. Sometimes it's like what ifs. There's a lot of people that be like, oh, it'd be cool if this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
And you see sometimes the fans are so passionate and are so into comics or whatever it may be, Star Wars, that they get, some fans want it exactly and they don't want any deviation from it. Other people aren't they're not that tied to it. A lot of people go like, how awesome would it be if this, that, or the other would happen? And we like to sometimes walk that line and kind of weigh it out, because there are times like somebody like yourself who's pointing out and go, well, he never wore that and this never happened and that. Some people go like, who cares?
Yeah.
They just like the dynamic fight scene and what's going on. So, we're definitely not looking to alienate our fan base.
Right.
We're also looking to bring other people in and bring them into the hobby and you know, kind of enjoying what they see and
Right.
you know, at face value.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you have anything else for us? You know.
No, man. I mean, I'm just glad you guys are out here buying and collecting and enjoying what we do. You know, whether you're you know, sold on it or not, and you know, at the end of the day, everybody has their opinion.
Right.
You know, it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun.
Yes.
You know, you're supposed to be relaxing and be able to enjoy it. And I think that's what I like to see amongst the collectors, where they're really hyped about pieces. I hate to see when whether it's our company or another company, you know, people just tearing stuff down just to have a voice. But
Right.
I think, you know, everything I've seen here at you know, StatueCon and everything, it's almost been kind of like a family collect. It reminds me back of the old days.
Yes, yes.
When everybody was just like happy that.
Right.
I mean, really, everybody needs to take a breather sometimes and go, I'm glad this stuff even exists.
Exactly.
Because like
exactly.
10 years ago, there was never this amount
Right.
of things out here.
But I always say that the people that give you the worst time are the people who can't afford stuff like this. You know. And you know, we call
everybody
them.
like, you know, we're in a place now where everybody wants to have a voice, everybody wants to say something, everybody wants to be recognized, and
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism.
exactly,
You know.
and that's always much welcome.
Right,
You know?
right.
Nobody's going to listen to somebody that's complaining, but if you're being constructive and know what you're talking about and might have something to bring to the table or whatever it may be, I
Right.
mean, that's how you get people to listen and not by just kind of
Right,
bashing or anything
right.
like that.
Well, I would definitely like to see Sideshow return to the New York Comic Con, because I just remember, you know, when I first saw that Venom bus,
Right.
and I was just in complete awe. Like, I'm definitely getting this. I don't care how much it costs.
I love hearing that because I worked on that piece.
Oh yeah.
I was putting all the drool on
Oh,
that piece
God.
and everything, and I was like, man, he's gonna have the drool coming down.
And
so-
that's what sold right away. When I saw the drool
Yep.
and the way the lighting was on that, and it was just turning around in that acrylic cubicle, what is it, display?
Right.
I just lost my mind.
Nice,
I
nice.
lost my mind. I'm like, I'm definitely getting this.
Right.
I remember having a conversation with my friend. He was like, "You're getting that?" I'm like, "Yes." As soon as this come out. You think Sideshow will ever have like a Thanos moment? Because I remember I had that Thanos on the throne. Yes. I mean, when that thing went on for pre-order, it's like the
people
internet
went
shut
nuts.
down. It shut.
People went nuts.
And it is still a
We were
grail.
surprised.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was a risky piece because it was so big.
Oh God.
You know, but we always knew, like, years and years ago, our big success was Dr. Doom on Throne.
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's a
everybody
good
went
one.
nuts. And like in retrospect, you know, it still holds up, but you know, that was traditionally sculpted. We did that piece 20 years ago. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of an evolution. It's like, let's do another, you know, meanie on a throne and see where it goes
Yeah.
to today's standards, and it did exactly. Well,
It
what
shut the
did.
internet down.
Yeah,
I was one of those
still
people like pissed off because I didn't get the exclusive Thanos. I was pissed.
Yeah.
You know,
and now
I'm like,
people are doing that, you know, their own swap out heads and
yeah, I got a
repainting
few
and all
customs,
kinds of
but
stuff.
nothing come close to the original. I'm still,
right.
if I could track down that exclusive head, I'll be a happy man.
Never say never.
But it's so impossible to get right now.
Yeah.
Everywhere I went, they try to charge me like so much money. But yeah, I mean,
the game, huh?
yeah. But Anthony, you know, I appreciate this interview. You know,
Yeah.
I know you guys say let your geek side show.
Yep.
On my channel, I say keep your stats up.
All right.
And thanks you, and you know, have a good one, man.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Fun. Peace.
Yep. Peace.